Hello, everybody. I'm James from eDirectory. I'm the CEO here, and Emerson and Gabriel from our marketing team are with us as well. Really happy to have everybody today. We got a great webinar. We're going to talk about keyword research. So great. A little just logistics before we start. If anybody has any questions during the presentation, if you could just pop them into the chat. We're going to stop periodically and check the chat and just get through everybody's questions. All right, should we get started here? Do you have anything to say, Emerson or Gabriel, up front, or should I jump into the presentation?
Yes, you can jump in and start.
Great. So I'll share my screen here. Give me 1 second. All right. And share. Okay, is that coming up okay? All right. Okay, fantastic. So keyword research for online directories. This is actually a really important topic. So I'm glad we're gonna go over it today. So the first thing is why. One thing about online directories that is that's really important to understand is that a large percentage of the traffic comes from search engines. Many of these directory sites get 60–80% of their traffic from search engines. So search engine optimization is really critical, and keyword research is a big part of that. So the first thing is just how do you get to the top of the search engine results page, or the SERPs as they say. How is that done just in general? And if you look at the importance of it, here's a stat from a 2019 study. The first ranking on Google gets clicked 31.7%, the second position 24%, third 18%, and then it drops down from there. So the higher you can get on the search engine result page for your keywords, the more traffic your directory site is gonna bring to it. So really important. But before we get started on the SEO stuff, the other thing to keep in mind is that, like, Google is really smart these days, and so they're really able to tell what quality content is from lower quality stuff. So it isn't just about spamming keywords and putting some stuff up there. It's really about quality content that people actually want to read. Google has a whole, I think, 200 different metrics that they look at to build their to decide who comes first, and some of it's time spent on page, all sorts of different things there. So don't just think you can throw keywords in and have good success with that. And then one other question we often get from people is, should you hire a consultant to do SEO, or should you do it yourself? And so my advice on that actually is, initially, I think you 100% ought to try to do it yourself, if you don't have a background in it. And the reason is there's a big learning curve. It's not that hard to do, actually, but there's a learning curve in terms of what is involved in SEO. And so we've seen a lot of people hire a consultant, and they don't get the results they're looking for, and they're not happy with it. They're not sure if the consultant did his job, or if it's just a competitive market, or what the story is. So if you try to do it yourself and do the initial work on it, you'll be a lot better at hiring and managing a consultant. And there's a lot of great free tools out there. There's a great learner's guide from moz.com. You can just go to their website and find the tools there. Find the guide, and they'll walk you through all the different chapters of it. Spend a couple hours on it, understand it. If you've already run a bunch of sites and you know what's involved in SEO, and you're just trying to scale, then great, hire a consultant at that point for sure. So what goes into this? There's this illusion of how you get to the top, what's involved in ranking, and it often looks so easy, but actually there's a whole bunch of things that people don't realize goes into making your page show up at the top. These things are the SEO, the backlinking, the content, the speed of the page load, the crawlability, which is just sort of the organization of the pages and making sure that they're all linked together. How you look on mobile, security, if you have an SSL cert, a bunch of things like that. So there's a lot involved to it. It isn't necessarily easy to get up front, and it does take some work there. So, and in terms of an overview of what is involved in all this, there's two general categories. One of them is sort of on-page elements, which are things like your content, which is, the quality of it. Is it well researched? Does it drive engagement? Is it fresh? Then the HTML is everything filled out in the HTML, the titles, descriptions, headers, meta tags. The system, the crawling, page load time, etc. The CSS, there's some black hat stuff as well. And, initially I don't know that that's a big concern, but like if you have spam problems or other things, you really got to take a look at that. And then there's off-page elements as well. What links are coming into your site? What is the quality of the sites that are sending the links? Your social reputation, where you are, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just kind of a general overview. And so keyword research is really about, this is what we're talking about today. And it is understanding, the key to it is really understanding what your audience wants to find with your directory site. So the first thing you probably, you want to do is discover which keywords to target, and then their popularity and ranking difficult. That's kind of the general idea of keyword research. Which keywords you want to target, how popular they are, and how difficult they are to rank. So that's kind of the general overview. So step one, what we recommend is first, make a list of all the relevant topics based on what you know about your segment. So just write them down, organize them, and then organize them into 5 or 10 sort of topic buckets. And eDirectory is used for all sorts of different businesses and all sorts of different segments. So these, you may be doing all sorts of topics here. It may be a local search guide, it may be a niche industry directory, etc. But whatever you're doing, make that list and then try to organize it into a set of topic buckets. And then what you want to do is fill in the topic buckets with relevant keywords, that are sort of related there. So an example is Thai food, and this is just the example. It's a very simple example. I think everybody can understand. So you have Thai food, and then there's a bunch of different aspects to it. A bunch of different things in Thai food. Some people may be looking for Thai food delivery. Some people may be looking for a Thai food restaurant. Some people are looking for tom yum soup, which is a delicious soup with some shrimp in it and stuff. Some people may be looking for a recipe, which is different than delivery. Some people may be looking for ingredients for that recipe, and then there's lemongrass, which is sort of a key ingredient. So this is just an example of the keywords around that that topic bucket. Then what you want to do in step 3 is understand the intent for people's queries. And so this example that I just gave you, there's 2 different intents here. One of them is somebody's looking to order Thai food or go to a restaurant or whatever. And so they have Thai food, then they have Thai food delivery, and I drew a circle around it here to show you the intent. They're looking to order some tom yum soup and have it delivered. That's the intent of this set of keywords. This other set here is they want to make Thai food at home, and so they're looking for ingredients, that type of thing for it. So 2 different things. So you want to understand the intent of these queries. That's really, really important to sort of target them effectively. And then I saw some questions pop up on the chat, so I'm going to stop and take a look at those really quick. Just to webinar. Okay, great. Just a couple questions of webinar related stuff, and nothing about the what I'm talking about now. So after you have the topic buckets, keywords, understanding the intent, then what you can do is use some of these keyword tools to research the terms. And so Google's actually great. They have an autocomplete here where you can see all sorts of sort of related results. And then at the bottom of all Google searches, they have related searches, and then you can see things that are a little bit different here. Ramen, ka, et cetera, et cetera. There's a paste maybe that you put in there, that type of thing. And that helps you sort of understand the keywords and understand which words you want to target with your content. And then to understand which keywords to target, there's a couple, key things to remember about those. The first one, is it relevant? Obviously. The second one is, are you authoritative? So you want to make your content authoritative on the subject. You want to make that you're the authority. What's best on that. And that's really important about, how the way that you write your content and how much content you write and that sort of thing. How much volume does the keyword get? That's another thing. If the keyword doesn't have very much volume on it, maybe you don't want to spend the time focusing on it. On the other hand, some low volume keywords actually may be less competitive, and then you may want to target them, and then you get a whole bunch of lower volume, and then together aggregated, those actually become some significant volume. So with that in mind, you often want to use a mix of head and tail keywords. So this is the idea of that whole long tail that came up with Google, and basically the head is things that are very, very popular, and then the tail is things that only have very low volume of searches on it. So it's good to use a mix of those when you're targeting keywords. So that way you get sort of the head that has a lot of traffic, and then the little tails, and bring them all together. One other thing is understanding the competition. So you want to look at the other sites, run them through some tools. After I finish here in a minute, we're going to turn it over to Emerson and Gabriel, and they're going to show some of these tools. But it's really important to understand the competition and what they're going for as well, and produce content that is better than the competition at answering the intent question. This is the key to the whole thing right here. Your content needs to be better than the competition at answering the intent. So if the intent is Thai food delivery, you really need to have all the information about that, the restaurants, where they are, delivery times, menus, all that sort of stuff in there is really important. So that's a brief intro here, and now I'll turn it over to Emerson, who will get into the specifics here.
Okay, thank you, James. Let me share my screen and start.
Just a second before we start, we have a question from Khalid in chat. He's asking, what's the difference between the business listings eDirectory platform and Yellow Pages directory platform, or are they both the same?
Yeah, so eDirectory is a platform that you can build all sorts of different types of directories. A lot of people that use it to build Yellow Page style directories, which are sort of local search. But people also use eDirectory for doing vendor directories on a niche industry, building, just focusing on a certain sector, say weddings, a lot of industry directories, a lot of B2B stuff. So eDirectory can be used for all sorts of different things. And okay, great. We'll turn over to Emerson and then pick up the other questions a little in a few minutes here. Okay. Great.
Okay, so let me start talking about indexing versus ranking. Some people think it's the same thing, but it's not. And it's very important to know the difference of these two things here. A page is indexed by Google if it has been visited by the Google crawler, the Google bot or the Bing bot, etc. Analyze it for content and meaning, and then stored in the Google index. Indexed pages can be shown in Google results if they follow Google's webmaster guidelines, of course. And ranking refers to a website's position in the search engine results page. So first of all, we need to get the pages indexed. So that's why we have the integrations with Google Search Console, the sitemap generator, all these things that makes it possible for Google to read your website and then index your pages, and then the ranking process starts. So that's pretty much it. And as James mentioned about the keywords, we have keywords as itself and as a meta tag. Meta tags are essentially a piece of code, little content descriptors that help tell search engines what a web page is about. But since 2009, it's no longer a ranking factor. But it is still important because having one important keyword on the page title URL, and meta description is still very important and are ranking factors. So just don't forget to write your keyword on the SEO fields for the SEO Center on eDirectory. Gabriel will show more about it. Just keep in mind that keyword is a very important thing, because it all starts with the keywords. And you can inspire competition for the keywords. Keywords are very important because they help you organize the content of your website into topics, and then create this cluster of topics that will create the relevance and the authority regarding a topic or your niche. So let's take a look at this chart, and Gabriel will tell us what is important today on ranking factors.
All right, so these are the updated from 2021 to 2022, the most important factors to rank your website according to Google. So as you can see now, as James was mentioning previously, the content is king. So invest in good content that people actually want to read. Don't spam keywords, let's say in a web page or a blog post. Google is smart enough to actually bring that content down on the SRP, then and in favor of good reading content with decent images, very well put together with decent user experience. So that's the most important thing. So actually for 2022, we have 26% in consistent publications and engaging content. So that means you have to add a constant in a constant way. You have to make new content and content that are really the people want to read. So this is the most cherished option from Google. Later on, we still have the keywords in meta titles, as Emerson said. The meta tags are not important, but in the titles, using keywords is still very much important. Google increased its practice of auto-generating meta titles in certain situations as well. So they are doing this now automatically. But however, this factor is unique in that choosing the correct keywords for each page of your website remains a prerequisite to ranking. So be mindful of your keywords, okay? Niche expertise with 13% is another highlight. That means that high-level pages targeting major keyword links to a cluster to other pages targeting related keywords. That means that you don't only have one page. That means your website, let's say your directory, is focused in a niche. So almost every category or page from your directory is linked with each other. So Google understands that you are expert in that niche. That's really good as well. Backlinks with 15%. Backlinks are still important, but the backlinks are from a time where Google's AI wasn't that sophisticated. So, I mean, for Google to understand that your site was relevant, it should have to be linked from other sites to your site. So that's how back then Google understood that your site is relevant. But right now with the Google AI, that is dropping actually in importance. But offsite mentions and backlinks are still an important thing for 2022. As you can see, for example, page speed is not that important of a factor, but and then right after that, we have user engagement with 11%, which goes back to the quality of your content, the quality of your website as well. So keep investing on this, okay? So good content, prioritize user engagement, and we're gonna post this on our blog post as well, so you guys can see it more thoroughly, okay? I will turn it over to Emerson again.
Okay, so let me just show you some tools on how to research the keywords. You can start with Google. We always use this piano lessons as an example. So when you type here any query, you see a list of related search queries that are another good options for keywords. So the first thing is create a spreadsheet and start writing all the options related to this topic, to this bucket, to categories, to a location, for example. So you can later analyze the volume, the importance, the value of these keywords, and then decide which ones to target. So when you type here, you see these options at the suggestions, and at the end you see the related. No, this is not the related one. That's here, related searches. So these are also good options for your list of keywords. After you have this initial set of keywords, you can use the keyword planner from AdWords. It's a free tool, so you can analyze the volume. I'm going to show again, that's the same example. Volume and forecast. Let's just say here piano lessons. Yeah, get started. Okay, let me just pick one account here. Okay, again. Piano lessons. That's pretty simple to use. Okay, so you're going to see the forecast. You can select the country you're targeting, if it's just on Google or Google Search Partners, and for time range as well. So you see the average monthly searches. If there's competition on this, this competition is for advertisement, not just for ranking on organic results. And you can see also the average price of these given keywords. You can use tools just like SEMrush, Ubersuggest, Ahref, that are good tools that analyze keywords. I already have this done here, piano lessons. You can see for the same for a specific country, if it's a broad match, a phrase match, exact match. That's SEO terms. So you can see here, as James mentioned, the keyword difficulty, if it's hard to rank or not, the average cost per click, and another metrics that are important to understand and see if you're going to struggle a lot or just a little to have your contents fighting for the first positions on Google. That's pretty much that. And when you decide the keywords you want to use, then you go back to your eDirectory website to use the SEO Center and place the keywords. I'm going to stop sharing, and then Gabriel can show us the SEO Center of eDirectory, and that's where you're going to put your keywords. You're on mute, Gabriel.
All right, I'm back. So I hope everybody can see my screen right now. I'm logged in my dashboard from our directory right here. What you want to do is you're going to go to the Promote tab, and you're going to click on the SEO Center link. Then you're going to land on this page. Today, we're going to focus on the homepage optimization, category optimization, location optimization, and all the features optimization, okay? Okay, let's go to the home page. Once you click here, you're gonna be redirected to the page editor module, where you can see all the pages you have on your directory site. I'm gonna focus right here on our home page. I'm gonna click edit. Okay, and you're gonna click on this tab, show SEO and advanced options. All right. So here are two important points that you should fill in. This and this field right here. So the meta description. So the meta description is used as a, have you ever seen when you type something on Google and it shows right below the link, a brief description of 160 characters or less is right here. It's this same thing. So you have to, first of all, try to use the keywords that you are working on your niche, all right? This is the homepage title. Try to use, let's say, the name of your website here. So you can start your meta description with this and try to create some description that also aggregates your main, your niche keywords as well, together with your website name, your website title page, etc. And also the meta keywords right now. So this is important as well. Try to fill in your main keywords right here, okay? And then you just can click save, and that's done for the home page. You don't have to worry about it right now. The next module would be the categories. In the categories, I prepared one right here. You can also explore the SEO options. You just have to select one of your categories from your directory website, click on the edit button. You see now, let's say that my directory is located in Toronto. So I have this category for auto dealers in my city, which would be Toronto. This is the title of my page, okay? So this is what's going to appear on your browser. So here are the keywords that I'm using for this page to try to rank on Google. So I have the auto listings, rent a car, automobile dealers, and this one like auto dealers Toronto. This one is important for me. And remember, try to match your title with your URL, with your keywords, okay? This is important. Also the descriptions. Try to use the same keywords. We have the SEO fields right now. Try to use the keywords on the page title and the slug as well. The slug is pretty much the same thing as the title, but with the words all linked together by a hyphen. Okay, the meta keyword is not that important, but the meta description, once again, is pretty important. So write a decent description of around 150, 160 characters. Explore once again your main keyword right here, so it matches our title, our URL as well. Okay, and here in the content page, try to spend more time here as well. Usually from SEO, let's say best practices, try to write 300 characters here, okay, using your keywords as well, and just click save. So your categories are now optimized for SEO. The next feature would be for listings. This one is the ones that you should spend more time. Let's say I want to edit this listing right here. I'm going to click on the listing, and click edit. And it goes around the same method that we just used for the categories. Okay, so you have your listing title here. Try to explore and use all the fields that you have available. So we are using a lot of pictures here. We are using the description. We are using the bigger description here, not just the summary. So try to use your keywords here and here as well, okay? The keywords for search, these are the important ones. So that are going to help us rank on Google as well. And try to fill in the more information you have. Add videos as well, add a description for the video. In Boston, let's say something like this. And really explore the fields. We have more SEO fields right here that you can see this slug URL should be the same as the SEO title, SEO keywords, description again, and you can click save and your listings also optimized. And the next step would be the location. So if your directory is a niche location directory, let's say a neighborhood or a city or a whole state, you can set a directory here to target that specific place that your directory is working with, okay? Right now, these are the countries that we use just for example here, but you could focus on only one country, only a few cities of one country, okay? You can also target the language that you can share, that you can show your directory. And also the timing. The time zone is really important. You can select your time zone here. So this is important because let's say you have an events directory, and if your time zone is mismatched, let's say you have an events directory in the USA, but your time zone is in England, let's say, by some weird reason, your listings will have broken times. So the events may be lost or delayed or ahead of its time, okay? And you can just select your locations and save data and save changes as well. And that's pretty much for it. I'm going to turn over to Emerson again. Yeah.
Yeah, just to mention that the location optimization must be done for every single website because locations are important. I guess we can go to the questions. James, can you follow up?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start with
okay.
the questions. I think we had one. We had one come through in the Q&A about our pages not getting indexed in Google.
I answered that directly, but you can
okay,
read the question.
Bernadette said her pages are not getting indexed by Google. They've submitted them through the Search Console. That's certainly a thing our support team or our marketing team here can help you with. So just reach out to us, send us a link, and we'll contact you and get that resolved. Certainly everything absolutely should very easily get indexed. Great. Okay, let me pull up the chat here and see what we have in the chat for questions. I'll take them as they came in. When will a new version of eDirectory be released? I don't yet have the official release date, but very soon. We're hoping to have a new version out. If anybody orders today, we'll get you a free upgrade, and so don't worry about that. But we do hope to have a new version out in the coming weeks. Next question. Do you offer an overview of the Google tools such as Google AdWords and Google Analytics and some of the other tools to help get started? We have some information on our website, and certainly you can reach out to our support team and we can send those to you. If you need a personal walkthrough and some more help with that kind of stuff, it might be a good idea. We have a setup package, and you can order the setup package that includes helping with eDirectory setup, and our account manager team, that does that. They can certainly give you a tour of analytics and AdWords. Google has pretty good training and stuff, so that's certainly something you can do yourself as well. Okay, next question. Does eDirectory have general templates for terms of use and privacy policy for the platform? We're not lawyers and we're a little bit hesitant, I guess, to give legal advice, but you can certainly look around the internet, and there's certainly lots and lots of examples out there that you can cut, and then you just paste them into the site manager for your terms page there for that. So
James, I'm sorry to jump in. Our demo website has a very simple, and we bought that privacy policy and the terms of use from a tool called ubenda.com. So you can use that as an inspiration. And create yours. Yeah.
But yeah, we're not lawyers, so we can't give legal advice. That's the disclaimer there. Certainly you can look around and find that works for you. It often depends on, does eDirectory ensure that customer business listings are secure on its servers and that payments customers are using are secure on the platform? Yes, we have pretty good policies around all of the security and that sort of stuff stored in the credit card gateway, like Stripe or Authorize.net or whatever, or PayPal or whatever you're using. If you need some more specifics on that and how all that's done, you can reach out to our sales team and they can discuss sort of security policies and all that sort of thing. All right, next question from Brian. How to utilize the near me keywords? So yeah, the near me is sort of the location stuff, and Gabriel showed, I guess, how to go in around the cities and states and put the keywords in there. We've also seen a bunch of niche directories that have very local restaurants. They often go into like the individual listing and put stuff about the city inside of the actual listing, inside of the listing description. Like if they're in a certain city, they might say, hey, we're near this monument in this neighborhood, something along those lines, and that helps them come a little bit more local. So I hope I answered that okay for you. Online venues can be global venues or local events. Do you rank well when a directory is global based, or is it better to build directories that are local and city based? It's a lot easier to rank on a much smaller segment than it is on everything. So if you're global and everywhere, it's tough to rank. But if you're really focused on one category or one geographic location, it's a lot easier to rank. So what we recommend is that you probably want to start with a niche that you can cover very well, and then you can always expand it. You can always expand to more locations or more categories, depending on that. So yeah, the recommendation I think is keep it small and grow from there. Is there a way to brighten the slider images on the search box of the homepage? Yes, there is. Just reach out to our support team for brightening the slider images. There's like a little filter over them that sort of darkens the image a little bit. It's just an effect, but it's pretty easy to take that off. Can you have two currency payments, one for Canadians and one for Americans, or only one? The system, you select a currency, and so there's one sort of currency through it. But most of the payment gateways on the checkout will allow you to sort of bill in a local currency for the people, I think, on design. So if you're paying with PayPal and you're checking out, they'll say it's in X dollars or Y Canadian dollars, that sort of thing. But the system only has you're only able to select one currency in the system to show people. Any cool features in the new version? Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming. We'll have, I guess, probably within the next 10 days or so, we'll have a nice blog post that sort of explains everything coming. What the big things are, we have all new mobile apps that we've rewritten from the ground up, and some new widgets, some new marketplace widgets, that type of thing is coming. So we're pretty excited about it, but we'll have more details. I got to keep it quiet for now, but thanks for joining and joining the webinar and asking. Do you have case studies for successful monetization? Yeah, we have there's some information on the website. Our team here, we can reach out to you afterwards and send you some links for that, about how to do that. And Emerson, let's see, we got a couple more. Okay. I'm finding that logging into the eDirectory platform is slow when I'm adding business listings using eDirectory servers. Do I need to go to another ISP service or provider closer to where I live? No, that you should probably reach out to our support team if there's any lag there. Our servers, we have a couple server banks, primarily they're in the United States, but we have some other ones in other places. So it may be a good idea to just ask and see where you're located and that sort of thing. And it is possible, of course, to host it locally. If you get the own license, you can host it on your own ISP somewhere else, certainly if you're in another part of the world. But it's probably a good idea to reach out to our support team and they can take a look at it and see what's going on there. Is there a way for city state to show on the listing results? Yeah, I think if you search for city and state, those show up on the results page there, right, Emerson? I believe when you search and you type in a city and state, those actually show up on the results page for that.
Yes, it does, and you can filter for location as well. So I believe it's possible. It's totally
okay.
in there already.
Okay, great. Like the case studies as well. Okay, great. We'll send those over. One more from Khalil. Can you give a hint on some of the new features? Yeah, the new mobile apps and some new widgets. That we're working on some new widgets around marketplace type stuff for that. So you got to be patient here, just a little bit more. All right. But thanks everybody. Any more questions? Do you have any more questions come in? Nope. Okay, I guess not. Well, if there are no more questions, I guess I just wanted to thank everybody. I just wanted to thank everybody from coming. Leonard, does Leonard have a question? He says yes, or give him 10 seconds here. If we don't answer your question, just send us an email. Emerson posted the email addresses in and we'll get those back to you. Certainly. Yeah, there's the email and links. Oh, here we go. How can we prevent people from adding locations to their listings? So I mean, I think they select the location by default. And there's moderation options in the directory, so you can approve things before they go live, certainly, to take that out if people are sort of adding spammy things. The multiple location isn't turned on by default. The location cleanup, if they write in Alabama, AL. Yeah, so usually if you fill out the city state stuff, those will be auto selected and then you won't have those kind of data cleanups for that. Fill it in before before they get there, all the location data, and then they'll select them. And then obviously there's still the moderation queue if they put in something else in there that doesn't quite match. But if the locations are already in the database, then they'll be sort of auto selected, and people won't have to they won't mistype or misspell or put in abbreviations. Another question: how can you remove the discount coupon section from user profiles on the back end? Disabling coupons. It's a good question. Do you know the answer to that one, Emerson?
Probably can be hidden with custom or maybe with CSS. I'm not sure, but
no, but
it's not out of the.
I think, isn't there a way to just sort of disable that from different listing levels in the options of the listings?
No, because it's the coupon code for a day to sign up for a leasing.
Oh, the sign up code. Okay.
Yeah.
Theodore, reach out to our team. We'll figure out what's involved. It shouldn't be a big deal at all to get that done. It may require some custom, but I don't think it's a big deal. We'll see what we can do for you there. All right. Is adding Google and Facebook and Google API ID free? Yes, that's all included in the base platform. You can put in your keys. Can you disable people from creating categories? Yes, I think that's I think you upload the categories yourself instead of people just deciding what category they want to be in typically. Is there a way to test payments without paying? Yes, most of the credit card gateways actually have a setting on the gateway side that you go in and put it in test mode. So then you can use a real card, but it won't actually ding the card. It won't actually charge the card. So test mode, just check it out, whatever gateway you're using. I think they all have test mode for that.
And most of them provide a fake card number, so you can use that testing number.
Okay. Can you search based on info, the more fields or additional fields section? I think those options aren't the more info and additional field section. I think those aren't included in the search by default. I think those aren't included in the search by default. So I don't. If you need that done, that's another thing. Reach out to our team and we'll figure out what's involved in getting those added to the search index. Is there a way to test claiming listings? Yeah, I mean, add a listing and claim it and reject it. So you can just go through and test it. How do I find someone to help me design and build my eDirectory? Do you have recommendations of freelancers or do you offer the service? We have a great setup service. And so what that does is we help you import data. We actually manually build 20 listings for you, help load in the categories, that type of thing. We'll put your logo in. It isn't a bunch, and it includes a little bit of design, but it includes like a couple hours of design time, but it isn't a full sort of build out your directory site. I'd say, Kimberly, reach out to the team here and we can figure out what you're trying to do and what you need to change. And we can either try to get you somebody recommended. We have a team that does custom development as well, but really it depends on what you're looking for. And it may be you want to use somebody, outside, or you want to use our setup package, or etc. How do you stop images from being cropped in the results section? This is the, I assume this is the thumbnail image that he's talking about for images being cropped. I don't know if I know the answer to that one. Do you know? I don't know that they're cropped. I thought they were just size reduced. But I think that there may be a crop tool or something around there. Reach out to our support team on that.
The support teams, they're better equipped to answer
some of these things our support team's got to help with. There's a lot of things in the system. Okay. All right. Is there a way of adding hours of a listing without manually adding hours for every day of the week? I think the reason you got to add hours every day is just so that we can have that open close. Like originally, I think we originally just had a text field there, and it was like you could put in M-F825, but we put it in daily just so that we can have that thing that says if it's open now or not.
And it also reflects on Google SERP if it's open.
there's a bunch of Google tags and all that. I know it seems like a lot of work, but it's worth it putting that data in for every little thing there. I have changed the homepage SEO keywords and it's not changing in Google search. Reach out to our support team on that. They'll take a look at your site and see what's going on there for that. Is there a way to integrate WordPress as the blog, or would that just need to be a separate install in a different directory? Yes, you can certainly integrate WordPress. Typically, the way that's done is you set up the WordPress on like blog.yourdomain.com. And then on the eDirectory navigation, you just, the blog, instead of going to the internal blog module, you make that go to WordPress. And then on WordPress, you put in similar navigation that goes back. It's not hard to do. Reach out to our support team on how to get that done. It's just you need to make the headers of both sites match pretty well so it feels seamless. All right. Do you need to have many category templates, one for law, restaurants, dentists, or can you have one for all? So yeah, it's probably best to have one sort of default category template for all types of listings. But then for your key categories, you probably want to have special templates, because like a restaurant has different things than a lawyer does, and so you want to, restaurant, does it have valet parking? Is it family friendly? That sort of thing is different than a lawyer's office. So probably one default and then a couple key templates for the different categories.
And it reflects on the quality of the contents that Google is looking for. So having as many fields for each category is very important to have a depth on these contents.
Okay, great. Another question, can you paste an eDirectory page on another website? I'd say reach out to our support team on how to do that. There's probably some way to get the
I believe
content
with the iframe HTML code, it's possible. I tested it before. It's not very good for user experience, but it is possible.
Yeah, okay. Great. Okay, that was a lot of questions. Thanks, everybody. Oh, wait, we have one more in the QA. Let me see. Can hours be set so that if a business is open from 5 to 1 a.m., it'll show up on a single day of the week, 5 p.m. to 1 a.m.? I don't know that one.
You can actually put in the hours for each listing individually for the days of the week. So that probably covers this.
5 a.m. to 1. Yeah, I think Monday. That's a good question. Basically, if it goes over the midnight, does it show up on the next day or not? I think our interface allows that, right? As Gabriel said there. If you have any trouble with that, reach out to our team as well, and they'll show that how to get that fixed for you. Okay, great. A couple more came in. Can you have slider images in the actual listing? I don't know if we have a widget that has a slider photo gallery layout or not. We don't have that at this point. That's something we'll keep in mind. If you really want it done, you can reach out to our team and they can figure out what's involved in customizing, putting in a little slider in there. I would love to place an event and feature listing feeds on my WordPress site. Is that doable? Yeah, I think we need to figure out what's involved there for putting in some feeds there. About that, reach out to our account management and they can see what how to get that done there. Another question, is there a users group for eDirectory? I'll let Emerson give the info on that.
Yes, I posted the link on the chat. I'm going to post again.
Great. Okay, great. Fantastic. Great and fantastic. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. If anybody has any more questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the team through one of those links. Our support team, we have support chat, your account executive, us. We all love talking to people and we're available. And also, final note is we have a couple webinars coming up. On April 6th, we'll be talking about the benefits of the Google Tag Manager, and on April 20th, optimizing conversion rates. So a couple more webinars coming up. Look forward to seeing you, and thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.